Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the MFL Ramble, the Metaverse Football League. It is time to turn a swag on and say, what's up? Just realised I haven't formatted the screen correctly, but just do that now. There we go, we're all looking pretty. As you can see, as always, I'm joined by my regular Wednesday lunchtime gods or goddess, depending on how you want to look at it. And that is the blue-eyed Braveheart himself, Hoodwink. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm good.
Nice. I was just apologising to you on the thumbnail. The AI seems to like aging people, although it didn't with Andrew, but it aged you a little bit. And I tried to do a nervous photo of me using AI, and honestly, it made me look like a decrepit 90-year-old. And I am decrepit, but I'm not in my 90s. But anyway. And as you can see, this week we've got a man who's whoring himself left, right, and centre. He's literally chosen to come pull the curtain back and go full bore into all of the shows. So we'll try and cover stuff that maybe some of the other people haven't. Well, that might be difficult because I was going to listen to your show with Ryan when I went out for a walk yesterday, but he hadn't uploaded it. So I couldn't listen to the audio version. So so I'm going in cold turkey on this one. Now, I have had a look at some of your teams, and obviously I know you from the Discord, and we've been speaking for a long time about various crap. But and that is AndrewQ has joined us this week. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here. Really, when I started against MFL about a year ago, this was the first. I listened to a ton of podcasts, so this was the first consistent MFL related content that I was listening to.
We didn't put you off it.
What's that?
We didn't put you off it.
No, you got me more hooked in. I think it was Kev, though, to be honest. It's funny when I joined
Kev's the smart one, isn't he? Yeah.
Exactly. When I joined the Discord, I reached out to him because I know he had mentioned it on one of the shows, and he was joking about the Scottish accents, and I told him on all my podcasts I listen at 2x speed, but for the Ramble, particularly when I was listening when the audio version, I had to bring it back down to like 1 or 1.2 because it was too quick. Couldn't pick up on what you guys are saying.
Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people have said that when we started out, but I haven't heard it too much recently. But I guess you get used to it, don't you, when you're sort of listening to people?
Definitely gotten used to it, yeah. I mean, it's not an accent that I heard very, very often, before listening to you guys. Plus, the video helps too. When you can actually see people speaking it, it's a bit easier to pick up.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But, Hoodwink's a pro these days. Look, I can see his mic popping in like a erect penis from the side, like that, Amy. He's got the setup now, got it down pat. He's an expert streamer. But I don't know about my accent. Sometimes I go a little bit Brummy. I was brought up in the Midlands, like in central UK, never near Birmingham. But some people have said there's like a little bit of a Brummy twang in there, but I don't see it. And I hate the Brummy accent as well, so I hope not. But
I definitely start to pick up more on the British accents, just between listening to you guys and the Yorkshire guys. And I'm now starting to hear differences between all the different areas of the island.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because like with the US, like obviously there's loads of different sort of US accents and stuff like that. But I can only really tell the difference between the South and the North, and that's it. Like deep, like Texas accents are quite easy to tell, and then the North. I worked with a guy from Texas for ages, and he's always very polite. He's always using his P's and Q's and stuff like that, and he's just a very polite chat. But I learned it was easy understanding him. But sometimes I don't have any problems with apart from that. But
yeah,
it's also Providence, aren't you? I was looking earlier. You're Providence, which is I think just south of Boston, if I'm not correct.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's about 45 minutes south of Boston. So it's in the state of Rhode Island, which is the smallest state in the country. We're very tiny. It takes about an hour to drive from one end to the other.
It's pretty good position, though, isn't it? If I remember rightly, it's sort of in between like New York and Boston. So you sort of.
Yeah, and New York is a 3.5-hour drive from here, straight shot. Boston's within an hour, and then Boston.
3.5 is close to the US, isn't it?
Yeah, for here, exactly. Yeah, 3.5 hours is close. A lot of it depends on the traffic. Going through the state of Connecticut can be a bear sometimes with traffic, but for the most part, pretty quick drive. And then it's nice having both of those as international travel hubs too. So really, I can, most major cities in the world, I can travel direct from Boston, and in the off case that I can't, I can get to New York City pretty easily. So it's a good area of the country to be in.
I always feel sorry for Andrew Laird because, I mean, you probably find the same problem as well, that you've got young kids and, like, you know, we take our kids to like football matches in the UK, but it's like a 10-minute drive to like, you know, a different village or like the school field. He has to like drive like 6 hours to a tournament at the weekend for just one of his kids. Honestly, it would melt my mind trying to do that.
Yeah, my kid just started to travel, and I think the furthest we've gone is about an hour away so far.
That's not too.
So it's not too bad. Yeah, I mean this area of the country is just very congested. So there's a lot of towns, a lot of people, not a lot of open space. So you usually don't have to go too far, like in other parts of the country, but definitely some travel involved.
Nice. Right, before we move on, let's say hello to the chat. We've got Jimbo in there first up at Ramble. Love that. Got AndrewQ touting himself this week from Root. You are, I believe, are you on with those Yorkshire T-Boys next weekend? Is that right?
Yeah, this was all very coincidental. But Kev, Ryan, and Root all reached out to me within a matter of a few days. So I don't know what was in the air that week, but you all reached out, and I said yes to all of them, and just the timing worked out that the way they were all scheduled, they'll happen to be within a week of each other.
Nice. And who else have we got? We've got Kev Hurd in here, up at the Ramble, obviously. I don't think we're going to be doing an evening stream next week, but we are planning a big one for next week. We'll be pulling back the curtain on our tactics for the season, which I believe we're going to do on Tuesday. So please don't take advantage of the stuff we give you for any games you're playing against us on the Wednesday. Got Root, SR Borough, Oi Oi, Savaloy. How are you, sir? Defang's in here. Hi, guys. Hello, sir. How are you? But yeah, we shall move on. I guess the first place to start is, are we nervous? We've got literally, where are we? Wednesday today. So we've got 1 week of the season left. Are you nervous, Hoodwink?
Always. You know, one thing that for me, there's a couple of things I'm a couple of goals that I've got. The one I'm nervous about is Edinburgh, because we're still top of the league by, I think, 7 points somehow. But we did finally lose a game. Then we drew a game yesterday that I really hoped I would have snuck a wee 1-0. So we're top by like 7 points still. And how many games are left? Like 7?
Depends how many are in your league. Yeah, 7 games. 7 days, 7 games.
So like I'm still, like, every single game I'm like, right, this is where it kind of goes wrong. But it kind of has gone wrong. Since mid-season, I've won 1, drawn 1, lost 1. So it's a fair few points lost in like the last few days, but still only 1 defeat for the season.
But you played all of the other top guys now, like the top 2. You've got the 2 tough games you've got left are Club, I can never pronounce that, Escusion, and Nigerian Nightmares are the 2 tough games you got left. And apart from that, you're playing teams sort of lower down the table.
I think I've got quite a good record against Nigerian Nightmares. I think I could be wrong, but I usually do quite well against them. And the other teams are in the like top 4, pretty much beaten most games. Apart from a couple of days ago, I think one of them beat me, but that was my first defeat. So you never know. Like, good, and I'm still not sure if I've done the right thing by not getting a couple of loans in mid-season. But I'm still sticking to the 0% test and just seeing how it goes.
It's fairly crazy. You were predicted like 8th or 9th, weren't you?
9th, I think. Aye.
9th, yeah.
So every game I'm going into thinking, right, this is where it starts to go downhill. So, but I'm pretty pessimistic like that anyway. But so that's the kind of the one I'm nervous for. The other ones are mostly just. I was looking at my MFL that's coming in end of the season, so far on current like league positions and cups, and I'm at like 96 or 97k, and I think the most I've ever had is like 63 or 64k in MFL at the end of the season.
Yeah, what I noticed is when you start getting teams in the higher leagues, like that MFL starts to skyrocket quite quickly.
And a couple of good cup runs as well. But I'm so like, I really, really want to get 100k. Like now that's my goal, that even the teams that I'm not really bothered about, like my 6th and 7th teams, like I just want to get a couple of extra league positions up just to try and hit that 100k. And then I've got 1 team left in the cup you never know. They've done quite well. You pumped me out the other one. That was the worst game I've ever watched. But
oh shit, that reminded me. Yeah, I was going to literally have the opening screen, like a big zoom in on that.
that first half was like abysmal. I think there was one shot on target or something like that. Like
Vikings, maybe? Was it the Vikings that smashed you? Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Didn't they smash me? It was a close game, but it was a shit game. It was really bad.
Yeah, you said that. The funny thing is, I really enjoyed it. I don't know
what you did.
What the difference is.
But that's the goal. Just try to hit that 100k for like. I mean, I'm happy whatever I get, like, because it's well above what I've ever had. But now it's kind of something even later on in the season, just something to aim for.
How many teams? I'm
nervous about Edinburgh. Excited about the other ones, just trying to improve. So
we'll go through some of the teams later on. But I just wanted to find out whether you were a little bit nervous. But sorry, Andrew, what did you say?
I was asking how many teams Hoodwink is up to aim for 100k.
I've got 7 teams. So 1 in bronze, 1 iron, I think 1 stone, maybe a couple of ice and a couple of spark or something like that. So like a couple higher up.
I have a very similar setup, and I'm probably going to get between 70 and 75. I have more rev share, a lot of rev share on the top 2 teams, so that's probably the difference. But for 7 or 8 teams, 100k, that would be a solid return.
Aye, it'd be good. As I say, almost double what I've ever had before. So be chuffed.
What about
a wee pack ripping stream?
Yeah.
What about you, Andrew? Are you nervous?
I am.
The clubs in a little bit, but what about your main team?
My main team is in a relegation scrap, which is a new concept for me, and I've been trying to fight my way out. I was down to there's 12 teams in the league, but the team in last basically just has the league minimum players. I think it's someone that bought the team before the season started and just threw in enough to make sure he can pick up the revenue for the year. So to me, it's an 11-team league because that guy's getting beaten up on all season, and I was 11th going into the midseason break. As of yesterday, climbed into 10th, but it's all tight at the bottom. So that's the one
tonight as well. So you need to
so that'll be a win.
Factor in for goal difference.
Exactly. So that it's tough because I'm also luckily in that one in the cup. So I have a cup game tomorrow. So now I'm going to rest players to ensure that I'm ready to go for the cup. But I'm going to sacrifice some of the goal differential, which will probably end up playing a factor in the tiebreaker at the end because we're also tightly packed. So that one, definitely nervous. And then most of my other leagues, I'm either in a title fight, or there's one where I'm fighting for second place in a league that I was never going to win. And all of those are just very, very tight leagues. And I know there's been a lot of discussion on the engine lately. And one of my bigger gripes with the engine is just the unpredictability of it and the wide range of variance that can occur. So with each one of these, it's just like, I don't know what I'm going to get. Every day I go in and I'm losing to teams I shouldn't lose to. I'm beating teams I shouldn't beat. And everyone else is the same things happening. So it just feels like there's been a lot of twists and turns in all these different title races. So I'm nervous from that front because I have no idea how a lot of these are going to shake out.
I found a way to sort of like alleviate that sort of inconsistency, but which has worked quite well. But I'm not going to speak about that this week. We'll speak about that on the tactics show next week. But
yeah.
Well, we've got you on. Like, tell us a little bit about your journey. I'm sure you mentioned it on the MFL on Meet the Manager with Ryan, but give us the synopsis. How did you find it?
Yeah, I joined MFL probably, I think it was March of last year. It was mid-March. I had some friends that, one of them that, I don't know how we got into it, if he was a follower of Laird, or I know he played So Rare, so it's possible that it came over from him. And he told us about this game and said, hey, do you want to go in together and just, buy some players, manage a team together? It took about 1 week of doing that and me, checking it out with my son before I realized that this was really something that I enjoyed and wanted to do more. So about a week later after that, I bought my own team. I bought it off the marketplace. That's my main club now, Lusitana. And that one, it was mid to late season 4. And that team had just been opened in a club pack about a week or two earlier. It got entered into the Redemption Cup. The Redemption Cup just ended. So for all intents and purposes, it was a pretty new, fresh team. So I picked that team up. And then even before season 4 ended, I ended up picking up a second team. It was a Stone club that was about to be relegated, but had no rev share. And I just figured, all right, I'll buy this team, collect the rev share, and then resell it. And then I didn't end up reselling it, and I still have it now today. So over time, I've just kind of slowly built up an agency, built up the club. So I'm up to 7 clubs now, and I'm managing an 8th one. That is Bob Orange Fly's team. That we're kind of going in on half and half in terms of his players and my players. So it's grown, and I've gotten more and more into it. You know, as I mentioned earlier, I think it was late spring, early summer, I discovered your podcast. I think it was from like an MFL tweet or something that just promoting your content, and then just started getting into all the other various forms of content and joining the Discords, and it's been fun. I've gotten more and more into it over the past year. It's a game I really enjoy. When I was younger, I really liked playing Football Manager, or back then I think it was Championship Manager. And as I got older, I ran out of time or the ability to play that as often as I wanted to. So this one kind of spoke to me early on because I didn't need a huge time commitment, and there was the real life component too. It's not you just playing against a computer simulation. And now the irony is that I probably spend way too much time of my free time playing MFL now. It's just on my mind all the time. So it's been fun. It's been a fun year, and looking forward to continuing on.
I was just looking at Pascal Da Costa, and I thought, he looks all right. I could do with more wingers. And I thought, okay, he's not got the retirement symbol yet. That's quite good. You know, he's only left wing, which is not ideal. He's got decent pace, dribbling, and then I thought, looked at the price, thought, oh, that's quite appealing. Maybe we'll do a deal on stream. But then I looked at his physical, 37.
Yeah. He's done well. I mean, this is the first year that I've used him because I've never had clubs high enough to be able to use him. I think he was on the Ramble for 1 or 2 seasons, and on the teams before that. And his ratings were never great. He was always in the bronze or silver league. Didn't have great ratings. So I didn't have high hopes or thoughts of him until I started using him this year. But he's done pretty well for me. It's just, you got to use him in the right way to try to alleviate some of that low physical. But no, he's been good for me this year. I did a deal, I think it was back in the fall. There was a player who was exiting the game. He had an agency that had somewhere between 11 and 13 rares, and he was just trying to ditch him. So I got it at a good price, and my plan was just to resell them because at the time, the majority of those rares I couldn't use. I think my highest team was Stone, and I sold some of them, kept others, and now I've worked my team up to a point where I'm able to use all the rest of them. So it worked out well because considering the price that I got all these guys at, it would have been much more difficult for me to try to compete at these higher levels without those players. So opportunistic buy, that's worked out pretty well.
Yeah. I was asked a question when I was on with Amreezy yesterday, and if you haven't watched that, go back and watch it. Hopefully he's going to start putting them out in audio form so I can listen to them when I go out pondering around South London. But the question I was asked was, if you stopped putting any money in today, how sustainable would your clubs be, and where do you think they would end up? Like, I mean, for me, I don't mind because I see this as a hobby, and I don't play golf. I used to play golf, and that used to cost me a couple £100 a month. And, I used to go out drinking loads. I don't do that much these days. So all of those things, I don't do. But MFL, I spend a hell of a lot of time on. So I'm happy to put in a bit of money each month. It's not really an issue for me. But where would you sit on that?
I think I would end up probably in the iron range, maybe the bronze range. What's tough is it's hard to get a read on what's going to happen with the reverse power creep once the retirements are in full effect, and how effective my players as they currently stand would be used in those leagues. I'm like I said, I'm generating between 70 and 75K this year. That's the most that I've gotten. I'm usually somewhere in like the 40 to 50 range. So I'm basically getting between 1 and now 2 rare reward packs every cycle. I don't know how sustainable that would be unless I started getting like higher uncommons and using my MFL that way. I think I have a young enough agency in the lower parts that hopefully some of them would come up, but my older players are all at the top level. So that's why I'm hedging a bit, where I don't know how much I can really sustain just by getting 1 or 2 reward packs per cycle. So I think I'll probably end up settling somewhere in the iron range. My Lusitania team is 47% rev share. The majority, pretty much all, and 80 of my starters maybe are loaned in. The iron team, as I said, I'm managing on behalf of Bob. It's half of my players, half of his players, and then my stone team is mostly mine. So I just don't have enough players even to fill out like a full iron team or a full bronze team. So I think I can probably, with the rev share I'm getting now, settle somewhere in that range.
Yeah, Bob and Sid as well are probably becoming the godfathers of MFL, aren't they? Like everybody's they've been a massive help to me, my gold team, and are a help to a lot of people I know within the game. So, it's so nice having sort of that support, isn't it? All people. And I guess in American terms, Bob's actually relatively close to you, isn't he? Sort of upstate New York. But
yeah, he's probably within a 6-hour drive or so, which again, in American terms, is a relatively quick drive. So he's been fun to chat with over the last few months, and been very helpful on the MFL front too. So good to have that connection.
Yeah, exactly. And Bob's not been particularly keen to come on any content this season, as you can imagine. He's not been overjoyed with the engine, I think it's fair to say. But hopefully, Bob, Sid, Kev, and I will be the people that will be on. I think Tuesday evening next week is when we're planning to do it, because there's no games on Tuesday evening, and we'll be getting his thoughts then, which I imagine might be a little rough to hear. But also, I guess the experimental engine normally drops this week. I think Basti said it should be this week. So hopefully we can have a play around with that and see if some of the issues or what it looks like. Obviously, you have to take the experimental engine with a pinch of salt when it's out now. Root's saying already dropped. When did it drop?
As of today, yeah.
Oh, today. Okay, well there we go. Perfect timing. So yeah, it'll be fun to have a play around with that and see, if some of the things that were a problem last season are a problem this season. Obviously, I take the experimental engine with a pinch of salt, because we do expect patches, and the final version always happens the Friday before the season starts. So normally any sort of serious amount of testing I do the weekend before the season starts. But
that's what I did last time too. I mean, I was concerned about there being changes, and then I'm sure that the MFL team is going to take a different approach this time around, given the backlash that they had received with that late patch. But I'm just hesitant to do any sort of testing and building my teams around what that experimental engine looks like, knowing that the final version is going to end up being a bit different. Like I just find it to be too big of a risk. I'd rather just wait and see.
But it is this. They do the same. They've done the same every season since I started the game. So since it's season 1, and like any testing you do now, as I said, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. Like you get a little bit of a guide to what might work and what might not work. But the serious testing, like, proper testing with the teams and stuff, doesn't really happen until the weekend before the season starts, which is probably a little bit late. But, I understand, it's a small team that, they are working, they want to patch sort of serious problems before the season starts. And often, they only appear once more people are testing. So I would say get out there now. Experimental engine is out. Do some testing on it. And if you spot anything that looks weird or hinky, and don't just text or message the team in the MFL engine channel. Don't just message them. I lost this game and I should have won it. My XG was 3.1 and theirs was 1.2, and I lost the game 3-0. That's irrelevant. That happens in real life. Just ignore that. They want to see proper errors, whether it be with defending, players jumping around, goalkeepers going out of position, all of that kind of stuff, send it to them. But so Hoodwink, are you going to do any testing on the engine? Have you got a game live right now? You seem like the kind of person.
No, I know yet. I did see Root put in his Discord just before we came on that it was live, so I've not yet though. But I will do. I always do loads, and I like doing it quite early just to play about with it. I know it'll change loads, and stuff that I start now probably will only work in 3 or 4 days' time, but it's fun.
Nice. Right. Before we move on, let's say hello to the more people that have dropped into the chat. We've got Man United Toby. Hello, sir. How are you? We've got Hinduzi's dropped in, who I found out yesterday. I think it's his parents live around the corner from me. They live like a 20-minute walk from me. And not only that, there is a pub near them called the Ramble Inn.
That's incredible. Are you on this weekend?
Well, next time I go out for a serious walk in that direction, I definitely will go past it and take a selfie without a shadow of a doubt. But might go for a quick scoop.
That should be the Ramble meetup location, the Ramble Inn.
Yeah. I was finding out all about your local last night, because if I go to Scotland, that is the only place I want to go. I want to sit there with Mark on his calculator, Hoodwink with a pint in his hand, watching MFL games on our phone. And then we won't let Ev's bar, doesn't he, after wrecking the joint?
Oh, aye. I forgot. I was going to tell Amreezy myself. I was going to tweet him, but I said I'll tell it on the pod. It's just a random Mark story. It was his birthday this week, but no, he's a clever wee bugger.
7?
It was 5.
5. I've aged you, like the AI.
He was a clever wee bugger, right? We were in the car. I was in the back with him. The missus was driving. And then he always just talks about numbers. He'll say, "What's your favorite number?" He'll say, "What's 5 plus 50?" or random stuff. And one of the answers was 8, and he goes, "Oh, that's a cube number." He's like, "All right, I don't know what that means." And Laura was like, "No, I don't think it is. I think you're wrong." He goes, "No, you're right. You're wrong." And he's like, "Oh God, he's adamant. He's right." And she's like, "No, I don't think it is a cube number." And I didn't know what that meant anyway, so I was like, "I'll Google it."
It is a cube
number. Yeah. I'm sure people know, but I didn't. Is like, so it's 8 because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And I was like, "How do you know that?" And he also knew 27 is a cube number. It's like, I'm 42-year-old, and he's like, he was 4. It's like, what are you talking about, man? So that was my wee Mark story, being a genius for the week. You know, knows cube numbers.
Gleaming with joy, the dad is there. But who else have we got in the chat? So what have we got? Sid's close to New York as well. I think Sid is in Manhattan, isn't he? I don't know. It looks like a Manhattan loft every time he comes on the stream. I could be wrong. I've imagined that in my mind, that Sid is a rich banker or something like that, rich IT guy that lives in Manhattan. But I could be wrong. But then we've got the guys telling us that it's out. Yax sent you a DM, Mr. Monkey. Don't say that publicly, Yax. You know, we don't tell people that I get all the clues on the engine. You know, all behind closed doors, that sort of stuff. But yeah, so
can I ask you on the sustainability question you asked me, because I heard your answer on Amreezy yesterday. Do you think your answer was that you think you can probably live in that silver range most likely by using your rewards, but at some point, how do you feed your bottom clubs enough to be able to help generate the MFL that you need to keep that wheel turning? Like if you're feeding the top of the club, you still need to feed the bottom, right?
Well, exactly, yeah. I did a little test. So currently, the MFL that I will be getting this season, unless you've got the stream up, you won't be able to see it, but the total at the moment is 454,000 MFL. And of that, I will be getting 408,000 MFL this season. So I've already planned out in my head what that's going to buy. And that will be, I've forgotten. Oh, sorry, 7 rare players, 5 uncommons, 10 commons, and 5 limiteds. Now, obviously, if I stop putting any money into the game, I'm going to lose players at the top end, so that is going to depreciate. So in the meantime, I need to make sure that I'm sort of filling the bottom end and the top end. But you are right. Eventually, like even the people that are sustainable now, if they stop putting any money in at all, eventually they would be unsustainable. And I think that's just the way the game works. And if you think about it, MFL have to make money to keep this game alive. So someone has to put money in. So yes, people could be sustainable right now, but it's a game that we need to, feed the meter now and again. So, if you've got a big agency, you'll be fine for maybe seasons, and you can take money out and keep half of that back for when you need to buy stuff. But you will eventually need to put sort of money in there. It's not something that, you can play for free forever, unless you buy a club, you hold that club and you literally just loan players in. For me, I love the progression. I love that part of the game. I like owning some of my players. I don't mind at the top end. I don't work for a living, so I don't have the money to go out and buy sort of, top players all of the time. So I do need to sort of seek out relationships and, bring in certain loans. Otherwise, I'd be getting 454,000. But yeah, it is a question I guess a lot of people need to ask, and sort of, I guess my answer is that, to be sustainable, you probably do need to put some money in at some point, get really lucky that some of the cards you pack turn into ultimates from commons.
That's true.
Tickets, I'll try and feed the meter on those every season, get 10 commons, stick them in dev jail, whatever the age they are, and then just see what happens with them.
Have you had any hit with that strategy?
Yeah, I've had a few. Yeah, like I guess with those, it's more luck than judgment, isn't it? When you're sort of doing that, but Let's have a look. Before I move on, like obviously a new homepage has dropped for MFL, which I really like. You know, it's always got the real life players in there and stuff. Just, you know, it feels a little more engaging. I like this up here. It's got what we've got. We've got Nep in there. I recognise Andrew Laird, join the managers worldwide. Yeah, no, it's just a really fun homepage.
Nice, yeah.
But and I imagine that the new site will be dropping at some point as well. But yeah, let's have a quick look at this. So my agency, players, and I don't know whether other people have noticed, since the new the back end dropped, like the agencies do tend to load up a lot quicker as well, especially bigger agencies. I don't know, it must have shaved like minutes, given people like Trust the Process and Big Wilbert, like minutes of their life back to invest into something else. But let's have a look. Progression, all time. Some of these players I've bought in since then, like I bought him in. The weird thing about this player is that the guy, he wasn't anywhere first season, then he got shitloads of progression, then he didn't place him with a team the next 2 seasons. So I can't remember, I bought him about here, just looking at that progression. I bought him for like quite cheap as well. I think he was already a high rare, like $125. And this was sort of back end of last summer. So, you know, the prices were obviously a lot higher then. I think the highest one I've had personally from zero is this guy, who's now 74. I packed him as a 47 rated card.
That's pretty good.
He's plus 4 or plus 5 as a striker, which is where I use him. So, yeah, he's sort of shot up. He's slowed down a little bit now. He's in tier gel. I'm hoping he'll get out of tier gel this season and then crack on a little bit more. But, yeah, he was great. And I packed him with another player who also has had decent progression. Still
pretty young, too, that guy. That's awesome.
Yeah, I packed him with this guy, who, as I've told loads of times, but when I packed him, he was 75 rated winger. At the time, I didn't need any more wingers. That was the one position I had loads of players in. And then he's literally got loads of progression. And then obviously he's gone up to 87 now. Went up to 87 this season. So, yeah, it's turned into quite a decent pack. And it's funny, isn't it? I always say when people get packs, they look at them and think, oh, that's absolutely dreadful. You know, but you never know how good a pack is until the players retire.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of discussion, even for me, on the value of those drop packs and those not being worth it relative to the player prices. But you're comparing it to what those player values are at the time they're unpacked. And there's obviously a premium built in for the unknown progression, but you're paying for players that are going to progress into something, and that's the real value. So it's hard to really know. The first rare drop pack that I bought several seasons ago now, I'd gotten a 78 rated player and a 70 rated player as the top 2. That 78 literally just got his first piece of progression last week, like a random stat. It wasn't even an overall +1. And that 70 rated player is 80 and on the verge to breaking to 81. So it's hard to know, you know, what these players are going to turn into. And you know, it might end up being that it's worth whatever the price is.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Oh, this is another one as well. Again, a player, when I packed him, I was like, oh, goalkeeper, 5'9", you know, vomit. And since I packed him as a 70 rated goalkeeper, short goalkeeper, he's just slowly progressed and went legendary this season. So,
fantastic.
Yeah, so that's one of the benefits. Like, I imagine if a lot of people had packed a 70 rated goalkeeper who was already a little bit on the older side, he's quite short, a lot of people would have just sold him. But I kept him, put him on one of my teams, and he's just progressed to a legendary. So, you know,
have you ever found an instance where a player didn't progress much in the first season, but then ended up taking off? Because when I have these guys, especially on the lower end, that I stick into dev jail or stick onto my teams, if they don't do much in the first season, I'm tempted to just say, all right, they can be replaced if I have another player in the same position at the same level, because I'm thinking that the chances of them really taking off are pretty low if they haven't done much in the first season.
Yeah,
is that generally what you've done too?
I can't really think which one it is now, but I've had a few like that where they've had nothing for like 2 seasons and they've taken off like rocket ships.
They have? Okay.
Yeah, so
that gives me hope then.
I mean, like, you know, each progression curve is completely different, isn't it? So it's difficult to tell, you know, just from that. Like, obviously you get the ones that take off immediately and then flatline at 24, and then like people buy them at like age 22 thinking they're going to go to the moon, and you know they just stop. But and that's unfortunate, but some of them keep going. And I guess that's the reason people will sort of, pay a higher price for someone who's got early progression. But yeah, it is quite difficult to, and I think that, again, that's part of the fun of the game. We don't want to know what the progression, people look at progression and they try and work out, is that progression that's sustainable? But there's no real way to tell.
Yeah. I've had a few of those teases where they take off in the first season and a half, 2 seasons. I'm thinking I got one that could take off, and then they just flatline after that. I'm just like, oh man, I thought this one was going to be the one.
Yeah, no, 100%. Looking at some of your Hoodwink, you've had some serious progression. Are these of people that you've bought, or you bought him in?
Most of them have been packed, I think. The top guys bought. My one that's similar to that is like Sean Parham Striker that I've mentioned 100 times, but I packed him like a standard pack, and he was my 65 rated uncommon. And I was like, that's just the worst possible. But he's a superstar. He's plus 12 now. Scores goals for fun. All types of goals, which I like to see. And he's a rare now, so
yeah,
still 27, still a decent age.
Yeah, no, exactly. We've got
Barroso's a plus 14, and I think he's like a plus 7 or 8 as a right winger, so he's pretty good. Still,
which one? Sorry,
Barroso.
Barroso, yeah. Yeah, he's like quite slow, like steady progression. I quite like those kind of players because you sort of guarantee that you're sort of going to get something every season, and they just slowly build up and become sort of more useful within the agency.
And now I play wingers. He's in one of my teams now for the first time ever.
Nice. And Santos, obviously, a guy you've had right from the start as well, haven't you? Took off like a train, got to 24 and then slowed, but he has made legendary, then he's gone up again. So still only 29 as well.
Took a while to tier break to Lego, but he made it. I do think Andrew's thing, when you were talking about the sustainability then, and all I look at is like, first, where would you kind of lie? But I was thinking, well, I'd probably be like Stone or something like that, because I think all my guys are just too old. At some point, they're going to retire, and I've just really been buying uncommons. But I've never actually thought, shit, I need to buy players from my lower teams as well, like you said there, because they're getting old as well, so they need to be replaced. So I don't know. I'd probably be Stone, but maybe. To be fair, I've not put money in for. I can't remember the last time, or decent money anyway. I've not put in a long time. I've only bought like some older players and stuff like that, like a few quid. I've not really bought anyone decent recently. So it's kind of been sustainable for quite a while, but everyone's so old. All my main guys are just like getting to 30 plus now. And that's the worry.
It's going to be fun when all these guys retire.
What are you going to do with your hopefully 100K of earnings this off season?
Probably uncommons, just uncommons. I think like the 10K ones, and just hope for some young, decent guys, and just doesn't always work like that. I think last time I bought, was it maybe 5 uncommons, and they weren't great, but there's a couple that have been progressing not too bad. So if I could get 10 and hopefully get some luck, but I probably should either get rares or should sell the packs. But I'm too degen. I'm never going to sell the packs.
I love ripping potentially get a couple of rares. So fun.
What was that?
I love ripping the packs. It's just so fun, isn't it?
It's so much like, because I didn't really. I think if I was playing it for money and I was like looking for ROI, of course I'd sell packs. But like, it's just, you play it for fun, and like ripping packs is one of the best parts. Progression and ripping packs, as long as you got a good pack, obviously. Like a shit pack ruins your mood, but so probably uncommons.
Yeah, and like David said earlier, I mean, you can cash out there and try to play sustainably, but at some point your agency will start to shrink, and you need to put that money back in. So if you want to play in the long term, the ripping packs is more fun. I think the uncommons is that sweet spot though. You can probably, it's what, 10K for an uncommon, and they're selling for around $20. So that one you can kind of have a good mix of, depending on what you need, selling a few and ripping a bunch yourself, and making a pretty good return to reinvest in areas that you need.
I think
Okay, but I'm never selling them. Never.
Yeah.
No
I'm the
matter
same
what
way. I don't
advice
know.
I get and how sensible it is, it's not happening.
I think in the Discord, I think it was last week or maybe even this week. I can't remember who posted it. Maybe Bold Sherlock. I'm not sure, but someone posted the numbers of cards that make it to legendary, and unsurprisingly, that the vast majority of cards that get minted, the ones that go legendary, are rares. You know, I think it was something like 80%, and then uncommon, and then sort of going down to sort of like your moonshots of like the common cards. So the way I see it is sort of if I can sort of mint a healthy amount of rares every season, some of those will turn into legendaries, and hopefully a few of them will turn into high legendaries and become useful on my teams. But yeah,
that's generally been my thought on it too. Is I want to spend it on rare packs, just the middle rare ones, and then that one they can help anywhere between my stone through my bronze, and hopefully if I just keep putting in at that level, I can kind of just keep feeding those top clubs, and eventually that they go up. So that's been my approach, and then those uncommons and below, that's where I'll spend on standard packs or just looking for opportunistic buys on the marketplace, because those are more affordable. I don't have to put as much money into feeding that part of the pyramid, but I'd rather feed at that top level with those rares and just see what happens.
yeah, no, completely. We've got Yaks in the chat, and he said, "Fine with you. Would love to have feedback of everybody, pretty relevant to what you were talking about for the experimental engine. So don't want to hijack the stream, but feel free to hijack the stream. But the experimental engine, if we sort of circle back to that again, like, is there anything that you would like to see either be done?" Like the experimental engine is out now. Often they'll run an experimental tournament. And my immediate thought was have an experimental tournament, slightly bigger tournaments that they could run this weekend, like the final weekend before the season starts. You know, people will be sort of engaged. I know, like the weekends, things do go a bit quieter, but there's plenty of people that would be engaged and play the tournament. But it's quite difficult. Sometimes I noticed they pop up in the MFL Discord. It's like, they fill up and then I forget about it. But if it was sort of planned well in advance, like they call it the end of season experimental cup or whatever, and just make it something that runs every season. And, I don't know whether you could have feedback on the site that puts in there, or if not, but just something in there that sort of, drives a little bit more engagement for it than sort of ones that pop up and disappear and people forget about. But that's one thing. But Yaks, I will have a look at the Discord that you sent me when I finish streaming. Ricky Hyde's in the chat. We'll have to catch up on this later. 10 out of 10 for the guest. A lot of love for you, AndrewQ, in the community.
I love the community. They've been great.
I got Ryan's popped up, AndrewQ. Ryan, I went out for a walk yesterday. I was like, right, perfect opportunity to hear like what he spoke about with Ryan. And it wasn't on your Spotify. I couldn't listen to it. So get that one up so I can have a listen later. I'd love to catch up on them. But yeah, exactly. Ooh, you're as bad as me. I always forget to do it. But yeah. What about you, Hoodwink? Anything you can think of with the experimental engine which, would favour getting information as quickly as possible back to MFL so they can make any changes and patches as early as possible?
I suppose if you were doing the tournament, you could have like even something simple as like a feedback form after every game, and it just either a couple of questions or a wee comments box just to say, was there anything obvious that needs improved here, or any errors, or which minute was a clock up or whatever. Something that's quick and kind of direct to them, rather than, because I think if I've ever played them, I just join and hope to win some MFL or something, and then I just get on with my day. Like, didn't really leave feedback or anything like that. Like, not in general, just for the quick tournaments, I just play the game and get on with it. Whereas I think if it was like after a game, there was feedback for me. If there was something obvious for watching the match, I'd fill it in, and if that goes directly to them. But like, I suppose just like the surveys or questionnaires that you get some websites where they pop up. But if it's like directly after the game, you maybe remember it, and it's kind of obvious when it's popped up during the game. But
it's funny that like Yak said, I sent all this in the DM, and I'm literally having a quick scan through the DM now. But Yeah, actually, like I think they're going to announce this. When did he say announcing this tomorrow? I'm sure he said that in one of the things. But yeah, it looks like they're going to be doing sort of like a tester rewards program where you provide feedback and earn MFL for that feedback. And I think that is a route in the same direction. And also, it looks like that on the match page, you'll have a dedicated button that opens the feedback center. So your wish has come true, Hoodwink.
I'm a genius.
Yeah. So all of those people that saying they're waiting now until the engine is final, you know, you can make some MFL. If you can spot errors in the thing, then you can generate a bit more MFL to feed into some reward packs next week. But yeah, Yax, I'm sure you said it in one of the posts above, but I can't see it now. You said you were going to announce this, or maybe you said it in the message. Scroll back up, scroll back down. But I think you said you were going to announce that. Is that today or tomorrow? But yeah, that looks today, hopefully. Yeah. So keep an eye on that. But it does look like there's going to be all of the stuff we literally just spoken about. But I should have really read your DM, shouldn't I, Yax? But yeah, it looked really good, all of that sort of stuff. And it definitely would encourage me to start testing earlier. And I think that will probably encourage a lot of people to start testing earlier. You know, even if you sort of generate just a little bit of extra MFL. But as I said, I would be testing. But having that feedback form, as Hoodwink says, right on the page when you go in there, you know, straight after the match will be really useful, because if people are anything like me, they sort of go into you know, a match engine, the engine, it closes, you think, oh, I'll report that, and then you get waylaid into something else immediately and completely forget about it. So having that engine report there would be quite cool. But yeah, I'd definitely be having a look at that. And when the experimental engine drops, I don't watch too many games on 2D, but I tend to watch them with the experimental engine just to sort of see if there's any errors. I know they take a bit of time and not everybody's got time for that, but it is quite useful for sort of getting a steer on, you know, what the engine is like. But yeah, it's quite fun. Andrew, you can earn MFL from using experimental engine. Would that tempt you to play more friendlies early?
It would, yeah. It depends on the level of the MFL being earned. I think that the biggest issue with the experimental engine is that the calendar is pretty tight. So they have a very small window where there isn't other competitions going on for people to want to pay attention to this stuff. So all that ends up getting crammed in the span of a few days. And I think that the two biggest things that are needed in my eyes to make people want or to really get the feedback that they need to improve on the engine is people to pay attention to their games, and in my opinion, to have a stake in the outcome of the game other than just wanting to check for general oddities in the engine. I say that because when they've run these experimental cups before, there's a lot of games that get crammed into a small amount of time. So you don't tend to watch all of those games, and you're not watching with the intent of like, I need to win. And I think that makes a difference. A lot of the complaints that have come up in the past are when people are fully testing it, which is right before the season starts, or it's when the season's underway and now they just drop points in the table because their defenders ran away from the ball on a breakaway. So I think having stakes where people are actually paying attention and being vested in the outcome, because then you tend to spot when there are actual issues, and then also having an ability to space this out in a way where they can actually sit down and watch the games, as opposed to just seeing, you know, 3 cup games in one day. Let me just check the results and spot check the goals. Yeah, I think it's a volume game. And I think that's why a lot of that feedback comes so late, is because that volume doesn't really pick up until kind of late in the cycle. So I think they just need as many people to have as many games and actually be vested in the outcomes to be able to really have a more keen eye on what's happening in the engine, which is tough to do given how small that calendar is. So I think my opinion has always been put real stakes on the line. And I think if people have a true vested interest in the outcome of the games, all of a sudden you'll be getting a lot more feedback, because people will spot every little thing that didn't go their way and they'll be pointing it out.
I mean, like you said that with the experimental cups they've run in the past, but there are stakes on the line. You can win MFL. Maybe it's not like, you know, bank breaking MFL where you can sort of buy rare packs and stuff like that, but it is sort of rewards that are on the line. But you are right as well. Like often, like especially with group games, I won't even bother to look at them. I'll just look at the results. You know, skirt through them on 5x or something, see the goals, and move on to the next thing. And that's really not what MFL want. They want feedback. They want people to watch the games. And you're right, the window is short. We've got the next week and a bit, then we have the playoffs, then everything sort of closes down about rollover. And then the issue after rollover is it takes people time to sort of build their sort of teams out, which is, why last season, one of the reasons last season that we didn't have any preseason cups. Hopefully this next season we will have preseason cups across sort of, I know that we were trying to organise something across all of them, sort of the Wendurk, Ramble and YTNXP. And try and do something fun across where, maybe if you win one of each, you get a rare pack or something like that. But, there are things we're looking at and we just didn't quite have the time to turn them around. And it is so difficult trying to fit them in because people just take time to build teams. Like I think I built mine really quickly last season, but I was still making changes a few days before the season started.
Yeah, this might be an opinion in the minority here, but I would have loved to have seen the Holiday Heroes tournament be on the experimental engine. Given the fact that there was a transfer window and people got to fuck around with their teams anyway and add, OP players, I would have liked there to have been more of a balancing agent there by having an experimental engine in play. So that way everyone has something on the line. You have an extended period of time where everybody was watching it, and that would have been a good proof point after 2 seasons on the old engine going into the new season, and they can work out stuff there. I'm guessing a lot of people wouldn't like that, considering there was actual cash on the line there. But even if it was just the classic, I think that would have been a good, bigger sample size of games for people to provide feedback on. Obviously, that's a one-time thing or a seasonal thing, so it's not like they can run these big tournaments between seasons every time. But I think that would have been a good opportunity to test out that new engine.
Yeah, no, and I think it is quite tough. I think the Holiday Heroes, obviously, it was over the holidays. Not all of the MFL guys were there. People were away on holiday. It's quite difficult running stuff. And if you're running the experimental engine on the main tournament, and if there's any problems or errors, then people get dragged away from the holidays to fix it. So I think
that's true. That's true.
But and also people build their teams for an engine to a degree. Will tweak things for an engine. So if suddenly something becomes OP and your team isn't done like that, then it is difficult. But
it was a bonus tournament. Like it for all the, I think generally people really like that tournament, and I did too. And not that it was perfect in every respect, but it was very, very good. But it was bonus. So I would have no issue if they used that as a testing ground for an experimental engine, knowing that this was all just upside. It's not costing you anything. It's all bonus.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, no, I do agree. And it is, from an MFL point of view, it's sort of a balancing act, isn't it? Between sort of getting as much information as they want, and trying to do it at the right time. But obviously they don't want to impact too much on the sort of the league calendar and stuff like that. So, it is quite tough. And one of the things I do like about MFL is we have that regularity. Obviously there was a bit of a gap for the Holiday Heroes, but normally, rollover is on a Monday. It's always on a Monday. The season's run for 6 weeks. And that obviously there's been a change now. So, we can open reward packs on reward day. So hopefully we'll be doing a stream next Thursday, although it is half term. So I don't know who I'm going to be doing it with, but maybe I'll be doing it with Mark and Hoodwink. But he'll be on his calculator working out statistically the progression that will be needed from those players that he packs to do it. But so anyway, we'll have to sort that out at a later date. But the experimental engine, I think, what I said right at the start is obviously there's going to be something meaningful. It's going to be easier from what I've seen to sort of like give feedback. But if you want the engine to be as good as it can be for next season, get in there early, run some friendlies and give some feedback to the team, because that's what they need. There's only a small team. They can only watch so many games. They can run simulated games in the background. They can run hundreds and thousands of them. But, there's only so many eyeballs on the team to actually watch the games and spot the things that we will spot when we start watching the games. But, anything else to add on the experimental stuff, Hoodwink, before we move on?
Nah, I think that covers it. Obviously, just we'll be hoping the problems that folk have had this season are noticeably gone straight away. But sounds like they were aware of everything anyway, so I think that'll be important.
And then, every new engine out, people complain, don't they? I remember the through ball engine, not the last engine that we had for 2 seasons, the one before that. Everybody was losing their shit when it came out. It's like through balls are unstoppable. It's like this game is broken, blah, blah, blah. And people lose their crap. And generally, it's the people that aren't doing particularly well, and it could be for a multitude of reasons. But obviously, this time, there are lots of justified reasons that people aren't happy with the engine. But, as I've said all along, we all have to play on the same engine. So, on balance across the whole season, everybody's going to have the same problems where they can see the goal because their defenders decided to go and check his phone on the sideline to, tweet out some selfie or something like that rather than defend like when people attack. But, so
I think for me, on that point, I think for me, it's just as frustrating, seeing my defender run into the abyss in this game, this engine, than it was the last 2 seasons, which I did enjoy the last 2 seasons engine. He just running in the wing, sweaty pass across the box and a tap-in. They're just as frustrating for me. And one of them, different ends of the pitch, but for me, it's just as, I like clean sheets, so maybe that's why it's just as important for me. But just because your defender runs is shit AI is just as bad like someone running up the wing and just tapping it in the box for a tap in. Just was the most frustrating thing for me. For day one of the experimental engine 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, however long, you noticed it and it just never got changed, and it was so fucking dull.
Yeah, I mean, I learned to like the engine. It took me about half a season to get it. Once I worked out how to play in that engine, the sort of, I did pretty well for a season and a half. But yeah, it was like the variety of goals was pretty slim, wasn't it? It was so many with just like those little crosses or stuff like that. So I think that's what I love about this season is the engine. The goals are there's so many varieties. I've had 1-2s. You still get the crosses. You get the long shots. You get all kinds of different goals. You get the little mazy dribbles where someone of them curls it in the top corner. And, I think the variety of goals this season was sort of on point. You still get the through ball goals as well. There's, huge variety of goals this season. And that is one thing that I think MFL nailed with the engine. But yeah, obviously there were some issues, but, test. And, there'll be rewards, hopefully announced later today. So go in there and have a play around with it. But let's talk about how our season's looking anyway. I'll go first, as I didn't sort of speak earlier about whether I was nervous. Let's bring up some of the monkey teams. I'll whiz through the bottom ones because they're a little bit OP for their leagues. The old Monkey Donners, 15-0, but we've got a better team than everybody, so I fully expect to go through. So, just fun to see if I can win every game, and then obviously tweet MFL and ask where my free pack is. But if you haven't, you have to have been playing for a while to get that joke. But Monkey Nong Dan, the Monkey Farmers, they are also top of the league, but they also have a slightly OP side. So again, fully expected them to sort of win the league. Well, that isn't quite tight, and I'm playing tonight, second place. So that's a bit of a fun game. They are through to the semi-finals of the Cup. It's pretty good. In fact, the only team of mine that got through to the quarterfinals was the Monkey Donners that went out. The Maoris, again, another slightly OP team for the league, and they are 14-0, only conceding 2 goals as well, and they've currently got a 13-point lead. They haven't quite won the league yet, but that Spark League actually is pretty sort of low. There's not that many sort of teams in there, even with uncommon players, which I guess is good, and I guess they'll be happy to see the back of me. The Maoris moving up. They also are through to the semi-finals. Which are tomorrow, aren't they? But yeah, whizzes around. The Berbers, they didn't make it through from the last 16, but they're top of the league as well. And that isn't a particularly overpowered team. It's a strong team. But again, looking like we're going to win the league quite comfortably. Then moving on to the Vikings, they are second, but a pretty decent record. All of my stone teams, I guess they're not OP. Not very many of them were predicted first, but they were predicted quite high up. They knocked out Daegu yesterday in the Cup, and got playing Safi, who I'm sure knocked out one of my other teams, or beat one of my other teams at some stage. I must have had another team in that Cup, because I'm sure I played them in the Cup and then knocked me out. Let's have a quick look. Oh yeah, Monkey Thunder were in with them. So revenge for the Monkey Empire then, hopefully. Yeah, I would quite like them to go up, although I'm going to have a problem if I have too many Iron teams next season, so maybe I don't want them to go up. Monkey Thunder, they didn't make it out of the groups, as you just saw. They are top of the league as well. That is a much tighter division. The Matadors. Matadors I quite like. I wanted to get them promoted. They were one of the stronger teams I built. They're top of the league as well. Although when I say strong, they're not the strongest in the division. Like I think they were predicted second or third, and then we got some progression. So I think we're predicted first now. They didn't make it through from the last 16. Then we get on to the more important teams. Monkey Kims. All of my bronze and above teams were predicted 8th or 9th at the start of the season. So the Monkey Kings, they made it through in the cup. They only came second in the cup, but they have made it through to the semi-final. And they're currently amazingly second in the league, which I find astonishing because it really isn't a strong bronze side at all. I think it's a little bit better after the mid-season break because I brought in a few players, but like he only turned legendary this season. I brought him in the mid-season break and he was 85 at the start of the season. And I brought him in as well. That was another mid-season, I think. But yeah, it's not a particularly OP side. So I'm staggered there. The Monkey Fire are about 7th, and they have made it through to the cup. And we are playing the Ramble. Monkey Fire versus the Ramble, 5:35 tomorrow evening. I don't think we're going to be able to stream it live, but that is definitely going to be a fun watch. I guess I'll be happy either way, but I'd love the extra MFL. So I don't know. Do I have any players on the Ramble? Let's have a look.
I can't believe you haven't played against them more often.
Oh, I do. I've got one player, so I've got a vested interest in that side as well. Nice.
That'll be a fun watch.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be a fairly tight game. Funky Monkey. I've struggled in gold this season. And these guys were predicted 8th or 9th in the league. Now first, staggering. I don't know how I've managed to get to first. Again, for silver, it's not a particularly strong team, but I think maybe I've had some progression. I don't know. But yeah, things are going our way. So it'd be fun if they got promoted to gold as well. I don't know what I'd do then. But and then Monkey Magic brought in some reinforcements thanks to Zootert, Sid, and Orange Fly. We unfortunately got knocked out of the cup in the last 16, which really was frustrating. But as you can see, we're unbeaten in the league since the break. Now when last 3 on the spin without conceding a goal. The defence is locked solid now. I'm trying to think whether I run that yesterday. Keeper's a little bit weaker, but all over 90 now, which is really what you need in gold from looking at it. I thought I could get away with sort of like mid to late 80 players, but it really doesn't cut it, unfortunately, in this league. It is tough. But yeah, yesterday, 1-0 win, but really smashed them. Should have been more. But yeah. Wow. So I am over the moon with how things are going this season. And if Monkey Magic survive and a couple of my teams make it through to the cup final, win cups, it will be absolutely blinding season. Then I'll have to worry about next season during the rest of it. We've got Ryan, Mr. Monkey. If you take your way to Spotify today, you should have AndrewQ. There we go, Andrew. I'm going to be listening to you all day. I'm going to go listen to you as well. But yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the season, how it's gone. Andrew.
Before we turn to mine, just curious, were you happy with how things were going ahead of the change, or do you think that that change that you found in the tactical setup has really led to more success?
Yes, definitely. The changes I made, tactical setup, gave more success. I ran some friendlies as soon as I made the changes. But yeah, like first day of the season, like a lot of managers, I thought dribbling was OP, so I had all my wingers on dribble more. It became quite obvious after the first day when none of my strikers scored, and the results were a bit patchy to say the least. That wasn't the way to go. So I changed. I think Kev and I realised straight away that that wasn't the way to go. I then found a few tweaks because, having 11 teams, it makes it easier to sort of test and with various things throughout the teams. And I sort of nailed in probably within sort of 3 or 4 days what worked and what gave consistency, and where people were saying results weren't consistent, suddenly I found consistency. But it's quite interesting sort of, the tweaks that you make, and when you land on it, normally after a new engine drops, it takes till mid-season for me to get it going. But it was pretty good. I can't complain.
Yeah, that's great.
What about you?
Yeah, so my team's generally it's been a good season. My kind of starting, I guess, from the bottom, if you have that pop out there, the Flint team I just bought this season, and that's because my Flint team from last season was unexpectedly promoted. They really were kind of an average Flint side that I got promoted last season. So that Flint team is really there just to play the shitters. So tried to make a cup run, got knocked out, and I want to say it was the quarterfinal. So there, I'm just kind of playing out the string and giving those guys progression. That Ironstone team is a lower end Spark team. That was the one that got promoted from Flint last year. They were projected 9th out of 11. My goal there was just to not get relegated back down to Flint. And I think they're currently sitting in 4th, 3 points out of 3rd place. So that one has gone pretty well. My other Spark team was kind of an average Spark team, Portsea, this one. And now I'm in a decent spot there for 2nd place. So I think the general theme outside of my main club is I've outperformed where I should have been and kind of had better results than what my expectations were going into the year. So really can't complain there. I mean, this one, it'd be nice to get to ice, but I don't really need it to get to ice. If I can finish in 2nd, then I can at least reap the extra MFL rewards from that. And if I can
You've got a team there that could probably finish sort of upper mid table with in ice, depending on the league. Leagues can vary dramatically, can't they? But
yeah, exactly. I mean, this one I had gotten decent progression. Those top 2 guys, Amani and the CDM that were there, both of them were on the higher end. But everyone else, I don't know that I had any other 65s like that. The rest were all kind of limited players, but I got decent progression out of them, and it's been a good season there. This is another one where like this team was projected 9th out of 11, and I backed into the formation that I played with them because I had 2 central forwards, and they're really the only 2 central forwards I have in the agency. They're right around the same level, so I've just been playing mostly. This was a forfeit win, so I kind of just rotated players here. But for the most part, I've been playing this 4-3-2-1, and that's been a fun formation, having those 2 central forwards sitting behind the striker, and kind of all 3 guys in the attack have had pretty good seasons. So this has been a fun team to watch. It's been one of the ones that I've kind of enjoyed the most. And that one, again, my goal here was to just not get relegated, so I'm in a good spot there, and I don't necessarily need to get promoted. If I end up finishing in 3rd, even better, but I think I'll be happy settling even in that 4th or 5th range.
Yeah, I'm like a couple of my clubs that I'd like to win the league or get promoted just because it's fun, but if they just lead to issues next season where I've got loads of teams that probably come straight back down again.
Exactly. Yeah, so across my teams, I have many that are up for promotion or winning the league. So it wouldn't be a bad thing for those lower ones to come up along with it. It just kind of creates a bit of a vacuum. And if it leads to relegations next year, I'm fine with that, because then I probably got promoted sooner than I was supposed to. This team was going to be OP. I made it last year. I think I ended up just missing out on the league, or I came in 2nd, went to the playoff. I think I lost the 1st, 2nd place match, went to the final playoff match, and then played against a really, really strong team that just kind of slacked off mid-season and ended up in that playoff spot. But they rested up before the playoff, and then it was going to be tough for me to win that one. So this one, I was ready for this team to be in stone. I had a stone-ready team, so that's what I ended up putting in here. Got some progression out of it too. Interestingly, this team was projected to finish 2nd. There was an even stronger team that was in here, but they've just smashed it. I've been playing the 4-1-2-1. This team ended up in the same group as Livingston, Hoodwink. I think we split our cup games in the group stage there. So this one, at 1st versus 2nd today, I think a win today would pretty much nail it, but I'm essentially there anyway. That 2nd place team
knocked Hoodwink out the cup.
Yeah, Sorry, Hoodwink.
Both of you bastards.
That second place team, league slip, I think that's SUFC Blades' team. They're not a strong team in the projections, but every season he has this team humming along. I mean, it's been impressive what he's done with them, and I think they're probably going to end up in second place given where they're at there. So impressive what he's done there.
Good job giving tactics to Blades, doesn't he? So
exactly, give it away. Yeah, so this team will be stone ready, which was my intention with that one. This one was a team that was projected mid-table. I had no intention of this team being promoted, but I'm right there in it, and I have a huge matchup today, top of the table clash. If I win that one, puts me in a really good spot, but I do have a difficult schedule down the stretch there. So I've been happy with this team, considering they were projected 5th, 6th maybe, but I do have a key suspension going into this big matchup today that is going to be painful. So hopefully I can navigate that. Oh, look, he has suspensions too. Even better.
He's got 3,
Good.
including his
Didn't even notice that. Love that. Okay, so his best 2 players are out. So it balances out. If I can win this one, I have a pretty good lead. I think I have a couple other tough matchups left, but this should be in a spot where I should at least get second, if not win the league outright. And if that's the case, I might end up with 3 stone teams next season, which is a scary thought because the team that I have here is not stone ready. I don't think there's a single rare on the team. I have a bunch of 74s that haven't broken through yet. So we'll see what I have to do to this one to make them competitive.
You put the same guys on the same teams every season?
I never do. This is actually one thing I chatted briefly about with Ryan last week. I generally just start from a blank canvas every single year. And part of that was because my main team just kept getting promoted. And it really forced me, any players that I had on that team of my own generally weren't good enough for the next level. So I ended up pushing them down. And it really caused me to kind of, rip up the teams and start all over again this year. As much as I like the roster building process, I do want to get into some semblance of consistency and making it a little bit simpler to build out the rosters and know what I'm going to do every single season. So my intention now is to try to carry over as much of the roster into next season as I had this year. Depending on how some of these promotions shake out, it might be difficult for me to do that. This has been one of my most frustrating teams, this Providence team. So this is my hometown team. There's 1 license in all of MFL in Providence. So I was hounding the person who owned this last year, and eventually, as he was looking to consolidate, he ended up selling me this team. So this one, there's a good chance this ultimately becomes my main team once they end up on equal footing as Lusitana. And they are wildly inconsistent. I have not been able to figure them out. I'm losing to shit teams. I'm beating good teams. Like I can't figure it out. And if you look at the league, look at that table. First place out of 15 games has won 8.
Oh, you're playing 4-3-3 defensive.
I switch around between the defensive 4-3-3 attack and the 4-1-2-1-2.
Maybe I haven't found too much. And I'll tell you how I play the 4-3-3 defensive.
Yeah, this is one where the past couple seasons I haven't been able to get a ton out of. I'm starting to dial it in a little bit, and I have a feeling I know what you did with that one. So I've been trying to test it out a bit. It's gotten a little bit better, but it's all over the place. The one yesterday was painful. I really wanted to win that one to kind of climb back into a share of first place. That was the team right above me. I'm playing this team that I'm playing today is dead last, so I should get a win there. And then tomorrow I'm playing the first place team. So, but this is one where, I mean, look, I'm in 3rd place. I'm 3 points out of first. I won 6 games out of 15. Like it's just this entire league, that entire top half of the table, just beats up on itself. So I have no idea where this one's going to shake out. I mean, I'm not even, and I'm only 1 point ahead of 4th place there. So like I could end up out of the playoffs. I could end up winning the league. I'm not really sure how this is going to shake out.
I mean, you're only 6 points above the relegation zone.
Exactly.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's quite
exactly.
crazy.
Yeah. It's all over the place. So this one's interesting because when thinking about what we just talked about, do we carry over the same rosters? This, I think, is going to be the biggest wild card, because if this one goes up to iron, then I really have to think about how I'm structuring these rosters. If this one stays in stone, then I can probably keep those consistent rosters across the league. So this team, I think, is not too far away from at least being a team that can survive in iron. I've gotten some decent progression there, but I'll need to kind of figure out how I'm going to handle that one.
Yeah, you got a few guys +2, some sort of +1s across the board.
Yeah, this team has progressed well. So I think this team was projected either 4th or 5th. So being in the mix for a title was good, and hopefully I can take it there. But we'll see how that shakes out. this brass boot team in Iron, this is Bob's team, New Orleans based team. So this one was great. I was talking to Bob in the off season, and I was mentioning that with Lusitana having gone up from Iron to bronze, I kind of had this gap of Iron players that were too strong for Stone, but not strong enough for bronze. And I had mentioned I'm just trying to figure out what to do with them. Do I loan them out? Do I buy an Iron license and just keep them for a season or two and then sell them off? And he had said, hey, I have this team here. Would you want to manage it? You can fill it with whatever players you want to, and then fill out the rest with his players. So that's worked out well. This is a fun league. I'm in there with Bruce and James. And this has been another one where it's been very even. I think I was projected 4th or 5th in this one, kind of right behind Bruce. And he's a 3-way tie for first place right now. And I think I played Bruce on the second to last game of the season. So that one might be the title winner, depending on how these next few games shake out. He and I have a very similar schedule going down the stretch. And then there's another team in the mix there as well. So, and I think the Python Predators game is Snake. So, yeah. So it's been a fun league. It's kind of been all over the place. What's interesting is there's a couple teams in the relegation zone there that I haven't won out of 4 tries, and then the teams at the top I've generally done well in beating. So it's thinking about the consistency aspect of it. That game against Flo was a crazy game. 5-5. I think it was down 5-2. That team's in the relegation zone. The first time they smashed me. I think they beat me like 4-1 or something. But then against these better teams, I've held up well. So this is what I'm talking about in terms of consistency, where it's just like I go into each one of these matches and not having any idea how it's going to shake out. This team just crushes me every time. For some reason, it does generally. They've done generally not great in the league when you look at their position in the table, but they just crush me every time I play them.
Yeah, that's so weird, isn't it?
Yeah. I think he has some speed in the forwards, and my defensive line isn't the fastest. So I think a lot of his goals you just beat me, even with the line that isn't that high up. He just gets over the top and has punished me. But this one, I was down 5-2 and came back and tied at 5-5. So I was equally relieved as I was pissed off that I dropped points in this one. I've joked around with James because it feels like every time he takes points off of people around me in the table, I bottle it and lose points against teams in the bottom half of the table. So this will be an interesting stretch going into the final part of the season. In the league, I just got knocked out yesterday in the quarterfinals. I was hoping to make a run there. So focus on the league now and hoping to at least get into a playoff spot, if not win the league outright. But it's been a fun one.
Nice. And what about your main team then?
The main team has been the struggle. So that team has, I think, as I mentioned earlier, I started in season 5. I think I've only not gotten promoted twice. I've only failed to make the playoffs once. And in that 1 year of my second season, I was in a playoff spot until extra time of the final game when I gave up a tying goal, and that knocked me out of a playoff spot. Every other year, I'm right in the mix. And I've always outperformed. Like I generally, every time I get promoted, I generally try to shoot for a team strength that's right around the 8 spot, with the idea being I want to make sure that I'm at least not in a major relegation battle, and I generally outperform my projections and hopefully I can get mid-table. And a lot of times I've gotten promoted out of that. This one, I think I was projected 9th. I've gone up a little bit with some recent progression in the last couple of days, and I was projected 9th, and I've been able to get nothing out of them. Like I don't know if it's just the mix of players that I have or what it is, but I've had wildly inconsistent results when I'm testing tactics. I don't know what to make of any of them. Every time I make a change and I run it through a gamut of friendlies, I can't tell if the changes are working very well. I've had a better run recently. I've won 3 out of my last 4 league matches. I think in the last 7 overall matches, I've lost once. I got them in the semifinal of the Cup. So things have gone better. But I'm still right there in a scrap to not get relegated. So we're all kind of jumbled in there at the bottom. So I have a decent chance there of getting out. I lost the game, that Ball for Life team that's sitting in 8th. I lost to them yesterday, which was crushing because I would have jumped them and gotten out of that relegation zone. So this is kind of my main effort has gone into making sure that this team stays in bronze. And it's going to be a scrap to the very end. So we'll see. I do feel like I've gotten a little bit better results, and hopefully, I think what I found throughout this whole season is that every game has felt like a coin flip. I almost every single match has been decided by 1 goal, outside of 1 or 2. and they didn't go my way in the first half of the season. And there were many times where I felt like it should have. And now in the second half of the season, they still feel tight, but I'm getting the results. So I don't know if it's me or I don't know if it's just the general variance of how the game works. But we'll see. That game yesterday, if you click into it, the Celtic Glasgow game, that one was an outrageous game. It was my cup game. I was down 3-0 at halftime. I was ready to just X out of the window and be done with it. Came back, tied it in the second half at 3-3. I took the lead in extra time. The ensuing kickoff, he tied it back. In the second half of extra time, I got a red card. So I was just making sure I could hold on. It went to penalty kicks, and we got 9 deep in penalty kicks. And once we got to like the 4th or 5th kick, I don't know if you've noticed this before, particularly with better teams and better goalkeepers. Once the shooting drops off your players, it starts to get like whoever can score first wins, because they're missing and missing and missing. His goalkeeper went up in like the 7th frame, missed. And I had about like 4 frames in a row from like, 6, 7, 8, 9, where if I had scored, because I was the second penalty taker, I would have gotten through. And I missed, and he missed, and I missed, and he missed, and I missed. This ended up getting decided with my goalkeeper in the 9th frame. And it was interesting because like once all those string of misses were happening, I was looking at this and saying that red card is going to be at my advantage, because if I get back around to the 11th frame, then I'm going to have my top my top penalty kicker going up, where he's going to have his worst one. So I was like, all right, if I could just hold out until that last one, but then my goalie buried it. So I was happy and a bit lucky to have escaped this one and through to the semis now, which is huge considering how much MFL is on the line.
That's crazy. His team missed 7 penalties.
Yeah. The penalties are weird because generally most teams have like maybe 3, max 4 good shooters, and then after that it drops off, and you're playing against good goalkeepers. So if it's tied and you go into these extra set of penalties, you just end up having to wait for someone to finally score one, as opposed to waiting for someone to miss one, which is just a strange phenomenon.
It's chaos. I hate penalty shootouts in MFL. Like, you never see a missed penalty during the game, 90 minutes. But as soon as it goes to a penalty shootout, it's just like, the worst one ever for me was that Livingston one, which I'll never forget. Was
that the playoff game?
A playoff game. And I missed every single penalty, and he won 1-0, like, after like 5 penalties. Just so stupid, like, just so unrealistic. I hate them.
Yeah, it is very odd. Very, very odd. So that Lusitania team, I'm upset or disappointed with how that season's gone. And like I said, I'd never gotten relegated before, so the prospect of that happening, particularly to my main team, is frustrating. But I'm going to go down fighting, and hopefully I've found enough to be able to get myself out of that hole and can survive.
Nice. Right, Hoodwink, let me just open the tabs on your clubs, and then we'll rattle through them, starting at the bottom. Let me just open them up. Livingston Village. God, the amount of clubs we all have these days, eh? We normally just like skirt through the bottom ones and then talk through the top ones. But as I thought, it's the final week of the season. Let's get the full picture on our clubs. So starting with Beccaria Augusta.
They had a good win yesterday, didn't they, against a TTP team, I think.
8-0, yeah. Back-to-back wins.
It's quite close. 4 points between the top 4, so could be in it. They're quite a fun team. They score quite a lot of goals. That's my 4-3-3. They're on quite a good run, I think.
Hey, you got one of my players in the team, DePaz. Didn't he go up yesterday? I'm pretty sure I saw him go up. Yeah, he did, yeah.
Aye, he's good, the CM. He's a good wee player.
Nice.
So they're doing all right. That's quite an exciting kind of promotion battle. I did lose to second a couple of games ago. I've lost quite. See the games that they're not quite must win, but they're must not lose. I've lost a few of them in the recent days, and that was one of them. The big frogs.
Sure, I played frogs recently. I remember that sort of name. I don't know why.
Is the club logo is quite funny. What does it say?
We leap together.
Maybe he's got a butt friend.
So funny. Has he got another frog club? I didn't realise. Oh yeah, he has. He's got a few. Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, I must have played him in one of the ones yesterday. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, Monkey Maoris beat his Irish frog side. I quite like that, although I wish you didn't have the backgrounds on them. If you could remove them, it would be even better. But I do quite like those logos.
But play Big Mr. K tonight, so hopefully another 3 points in the bag.
Oh, it should be easy, yeah. White Rose Gate, yeah, be an easy win.
That's one of his weaker teams. That's just a farming team, I think. So
nice,
but that's often where a slip up as well. So it's not
Santiago Andes.
Andy's through in the cup, I think, into the semis. They love a semi. They are. Did they lose? I don't know. Oh, they won the league game as well.
Yeah,
they're in quite good form actually.
They're nice. Sorry, I thought they were a Spark team. Yeah, so a solid ice team, but not an exceptionally big one.
3 points away for third. So first and second they've got class teams actually. First and second, so they're going to run away with it. So it's really a battle for third with them plus the cup. So could be quite an exciting end to the season for them. And I play Blades tonight. Hopefully another easy 3 points. Just jinxing all my games. So,
hopefully he doesn't listen to this beforehand, otherwise he'll lord it over you because Jimbo's streaming, I think, tonight, tomorrow and Friday, I'm sure I saw you say. So I'm sure Blades will be in there throwing abuse at Jimbo. But
of course.
Yeah. And then we move on to Casa Tucumán, also in ice, not doing particularly well.
That is so stupid. See that game yesterday, that 1-1 with bottom of the league who have got they've got 5 points now for the whole season. And they scored like a 93rd minute equaliser against me. 19 shots to 6. They had 2 on target, scored in the 94th minute equaliser. Just the most frustrating kind of game. But one of them. They've actually been on a good run of form, to be fair, so I can allow the blip. But I think just a mid-table finish for them. They were the ones that were terrible. They were so shit. Then you and Kev helped me with a few tips for playing a bit narrower with my 4-1-2-1-2, and it's really helped, to be honest. So who do I play? Dafung. I play the team just below me tonight, so again, that's a must-win game, so I'm not going to win that one, am I?
As Jimbo says in the chat, water is wet, grass is green, and Blade's giving me shit for no reason. Almost guaranteed. I feel like he does like 10 tequila shots before he comes on your streams, Jimbo. Like the spelling is just like, oh my God, it's like he's just hitting the keyboard with his hands rather than actually trying to do stuff, and it just comes out with insults. But I will be definitely on the stream this evening at some point anyway, watching it. But I do tend to like focus in on my games and just have the stream on in the background. But right, Casa Tucumán, then we move on to Atlanta Phoenix.
So they've lost 2 must-not-lose games in the last 2 games against the Polish Gunners, lovely name, and One Love United. So even just a couple of points same, there would have been, 23 points, and they would have been on 24 each.
Yeah, so win that would have been second.
I just couldn't lose them when I lost them both. So, and then who did I play tonight? Third bottom of the league, but you never know. They're still in a promotion, race. But
was this the team that was in Flint a couple seasons ago, like during the trial club season?
That's my trial club.
Yeah, I was in the adjacent league with you, and it looked like we might square off at one point in the playoff, but you ended up winning the league right at the end, right?
Aye. Did they go up? I think we smashed the first season, I think. What were they, Flint or Spark? Aye, so they've had 2 promotions, I think. Aye. So it's quite a fun club. Is that quite a nice score?
14 games, 7 wins, 7 losses, no draws.
Brilliant, eh?
Yeah, boom or bust.
Right, there's some nice goals. They've got big Sean Carr in the team, so he gets goals, and that's what's keeping them going. Good old Livy. Where are we? Livy. I think Livy are mid-table. They're going to finish mid-table. it's not going to be a promotion push or anything. Probably too far behind there.
But you're not going to get relegated either. Like the 3 teams are pretty far away, aren't they? The 3 bottom teams. So you should be mid-table.
You'd hope so, considering there's between 6th and 9th. There's 4. In fact, White Rose as well. Actually, it could finish 4th. That's probably between 4th and 8th. So mid-table. Nothing exciting.
You're in quite a few leagues with Big Mr. K, aren't you?
I never knew. I can't remember. I knew I was in the lower one, but I didn't remember this one. Have I had a game recently?
No. When do you play them next?
Oh, can't even.
Oh, last game of the season you play them.
So we drew 3-3 the first game. That was very, very early. That was a good game. I do remember now, actually. But just mid-table nonsense for them.
Brandix in the chat saying, I'm buying myself out of this league finally. Which team are you? Boys from Bern.
Oh, the Celtic team. They beat me, I think. Did they beat me yesterday, maybe?
Yeah, they've got a solid team. Nice.
And then good old Daegu. Daegu up to their old fucking tricks.
They had a nice cup run, didn't they?
I got a decent amount for that cup run, but it was just a bit of damp squib at the end, to be honest. It was just such a poor. I never looked like scoring, and then you got a couple of nice goals and just. But I'll tell you, see if you look at if you go into the squad performance and look at my goals scored,
yeah,
you see where the problem is there.
Don't know what's
like
happening there.
13 for Resendi, 12 for Demchuk, and then my next is 2. And in fact, I've only got 5 goal scorers. Fucking abysmal.
I'll zoom out. Sorry.
In that game yesterday against Hans Vorst, bottom of the league, no won a game all season. I'm 2-0 up and cruising at halftime, and they beat me 3-2 for their first win of the season. It's classic Daegu. So I'm hoping I didn't get relegated. That's the main thing. I think I need another. I thought I'd kind of turned it around actually, because I had a couple of good wins in the league. Wasn't anything inconsistent, but I had a couple of good wins. Lost the cup, then I thought I'll get a win yesterday against that bottom of the league. That would be 3 in a row. Lost that. So
nice. Yeah, no, you don't want Daegu to stay up. They've got a solid team as well, so they should stay up.
I'm not right team. Where are the got the leagues? Where were they predicted? They were predicted mid-table 6th, so underperforming. And like I need to work on a couple of things. I was thinking with them because they were really, really shit. Like to start, I'd tweaked it quite a bit to try and make it more solid, and it seemed to be working a wee bit. But when I mean solid, is like some of my old tactics really seasons and seasons ago. I used to always have like almost a flat back 4. My fullbacks were just so defensive. It was like having 4 centre backs, which is not working. Like now, there's zero creativity, and it's just relying on my 2 guys up top to score, which it's fine when they do score, but when they're just starved of any creativity, I get beat obviously. And I was listening. I'm only halfway through it, but the YTXP. I was listening to Bruce talking about tactics, and he was talking about cross more often on wide players and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I'll probably just have a wee tweak. What was that, sorry?
I don't agree with him on some of the stuff he said, but like they were also saying, like I think they said last week that like they don't like player instructions, having fewer player instructions, and then this week he was talking about having sort of cross more and stuff like that. But I think that you can it depends on the players you've got in the team as well. Like if your players are great passers, then yeah. But I don't like to have cross more. I like to go a different route for sort of creating opportunities.
I hate crossing. I just didn't enjoy. I don't think I've ever seen a good goal for a crossing. Like maybe it can be effective, but I don't know. I've never enjoyed watching it, and whenever I see my crossing stats, they're like between 0 and 15%. I just hate it. So, but I need to do something with Dega because it's just so poor how bad they are now, which I'm used to, and it's a higher league, so it's not like I'm expecting to win loads. But come on, guys, get some
I do
goals.
like having the crossing when I'm playing against narrow formations, because what I find is the crossing is not just in the final third, but in the build-up too. So if they're playing more narrow, switching the point of attack to the opposite side just pulls the defense apart. So that's where I tend to use it the most.
Aye, like the crossfield balls. I like them.
Yeah.
Aye. Maybe I'm not saying I'll exactly put crossing on, but it was just listening to it. I was like, picking up a few things that could maybe help just unlock a wee bit the absolutely boring defensive nonsense that I've got going just now, which was a kind of a panic tactic, which worked. It does work sometimes. I've had a couple of nice wins since, and I've moved up the table because I think I lost like my first 5 games or something ridiculous. So it kind of works sometimes, but other times I just need to open it up a bit, be a bit more exciting, which doesn't always suit my play.
100%. And we've got Ryan in the chat saying crossing is shit. I'm also team never cross.
Yes,
Root saying needs to bounce for a meeting. Good luck with the meeting, Root. And I'll be listening to you. I think when I go out for a walk, I will have you and 2 podcasts already queued up, by the sounds of it. And then we move on to your main team, Hoodwink, Edinburgh Castle. Where were they predicted?
9th, I think.
Yeah. It's not a strong team for a bronze side, is it, these days?
No.
You decided to go down the 0% rev share route and absolutely just go with your own players, and you're going to win the league. You've won the league.
No, in the league. Like 7 points isn't a lot when there's 7 games left, so it could easily go tits up. But one thing that's really helping is that defence. I've got the best defence in the league, only conceded 12. But the difference with us and Dega is it's no kind of stifling my creativity. I'm still got 30 goals, so 2 goals a game on average. And they beat the big boys, and then I've got who did I play 4th in the league? And I think did I beat them the first game? I think I did.
Who's that? Club Escutcheon?
Aye. Club Escutcheon. I beat them 3-2 quite recently, actually. So I beat them in the first game. So you never know. And then my running not too bad. Black Sea, then Bruno.
Yeah, you've got to play 4th and 5th, but apart from that, you're playing teams lower down the league. So, yeah.
Super skills.
A win tonight would be amazing, wouldn't it? That would sort of like separate like the bunch a bit more as well.
Mm. Aye, so like I'm really enjoying them. One thing I do struggle with is the smaller squads. Like I like rotating. I like playing them in, like I've now got like my fullbacks that play left back and right back, and one that plays left back and right back, and then my right mid, left mid, and cams. I'm rotating between them, like they all play different positions. So I've been enjoying that, but I didn't enjoy having like the 19 players and stuff like that. I like having I know it's better for progression and stuff like that, but I think next year, going on, I'll probably just go back to a 22-man squad, but just make sure I do kind of rotate and play. Make sure they're like playing in different positions and stuff like that, because I've always been quite strict with it, and this is the first time I've been flexible with it. But I think in terms of the squad rotation, I just struggle a wee bit with it, and it's not really something I've enjoyed as much. Although I know it obviously helps for progression, it's just not my number one focus. So that's a lesson learned for the season. And the 0% loans I've kind of enjoyed, because it's really, really helped my MFL earnings, or hopefully by the end of the season it will. But it's been a bit of a challenge, but it's been fun, and they've been going really well. And scoring goals as well. Scoring goals and no conceding many. And then because I'm like half decent ratings, and like top goal scorer Chadinelli's got 10, Wagner's got Chadinelli's got 11, Wagner's got 10, then there's quite a few kind of spread across the team. And then assists, Wagner's got 10 goals and 7 assists is like my striker is pretty decent. And then Nordgren, who's one of my fave guys, he's like 85 rated, I think. My left mid, he's actually been shit. He's retiring, but the backup to him, who's like 81 rated, Sims, he's got 2 goals and 6 assists. So for a change, my backups have actually been performing as well, which is nice because like usually it's quite a big ratings difference, and I've always noticed it. Whereas this time when people are coming in, they seem to be performing a bit better.
Team OAP.
They're so old. So old, man. Is there still a few youngsters maybe? Tribute stage. Nah.
Got a few youngsters. Oh, they're the common ones, aren't they? Yeah.
But rollover day, I fucking dread it. Every season, absolutely dread it. So one day I'm just gonna get fucked.
Is this the highest up the pyramid that you've competed in?
No, I was in silver. A few seasons back now. Maybe 3 seasons. Finished bottom of the league, but put up a good. Finished on like 20 odd points. Bottom of the league, so it was like quite a decent fight we put up. But that was one of the seasons where I thought, you know what, I'm like gonna try and give less MFL, because I gave up like 25% MFL to get a couple of Legos in and really like improve my team, and it was still miles off like for the other teams. And then I finished bottom anyway, and I gave away like, I don't know, 15-20 grand the MFL or something like that for no reason.
Relegated on 21 points. It's a bit rough. It was really close at the bottom of the season as well.
Aye.
Right.
That was a fun season actually, but it was tough. Like my ceiling feels like bronze, but when I got to silver, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the challenge.
So what do you think you'll do with Edinburgh if they go up to silver? Do you think you'll roll that team forward?
I'd get destroyed, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
I think I'd have to definitely improve. Like, I'd probably just get some loans in, if possible. I don't know. You never know. I might just have fun with it and go 0. It's no fun though, is it? Getting pumped every week.
Yeah.
As a Daegu manager, I know that. I'm not sure. I think I'd be sensible and get some loans in, but no go wild.
Nice.
If I was going wild, it'd be to have a team to compete and like stay up rather than just be like gear up 25% and know that I'm going to struggle.
Still get relegated, yeah.
Aye.
In other big news, I don't know whether zoom in a little bit. OG player, one of Hatton's guys, Guliam. You'll probably remember him if you've been listening for a while. He reached, he was the absolute crushed the progression early on. He got to 84 a couple of seasons ago, and it's been ages since he went to go to Legendary, and he finally went Legendary. I don't know whether you can hear that on stream.
Beautiful.
But yeah, beautiful.
I'm so glad he's gone. What did he start as?
Oh, low. Yeah, really low. So,
do you create these videos?
I done that one. He's got the Ramble shirt.
Yeah.
Got the Ramble shirt on as well.
So it's amazing how realistic these are. It's insane.
Aye.
I think that's the benefit of moving to like the photorealistic players, isn't it? That you sort of, it's easy to sort of see, to create that sort of realistic content. But in the package that Hoodwink and I use for doing it is pretty good, isn't it? And pretty quick as well from bashing stuff like that out.
I was not in favor of the photorealistic project. I thought it was a waste of time, but I quickly changed my tune once I saw it. I see the benefit of it now. At the time, I was just like, why are they wasting so many cycles on this? But I definitely think it's worth it. It definitely adds a lot to the game and something to build off of as they move forward too.
Yeah, 100%. So Guliam started as a 54 rated player. Didn't do anything the first season. I can't remember. I don't know whether he was even on a team that first season. Second season,
he was listed for £1 the first season, or $1.
Yeah,
for
he
like 2
was, you're
seasons.
right, yeah.
Couldn't sell him.
You couldn't sell him for £1 that first season, and then second season we put him on a team and literally destroyed limited. Went up to what's that, sort of over 60, ripped through over 2 seasons uncommon, then ripped through rare, got to there, and then it's been a long charge. And he was on my team, I think, around there, and then he's been on the Ramble team, I think, for a couple of seasons now, hasn't he?
I had him in Edinburgh last
You had
season.
him in Edinburgh, did you, for one season as well? So he's
He
been
got loads of wee stat increases, but never got I really wanted the overall +1, but he got over and over again. He got a wee +1 like shooting, passing, and then
been whoring himself out amongst the Ramble teams for the last sort of 4 or 5 seasons. But yeah, brilliant. Look, yeah. Oh, Roots just said, jump back in to say the MFL announcement is out on the feedback. So yeah, if you're watching live, then like go and have a crack and start doing some experimental and earn a bit of MFL if you spot any errors. But I think that's pretty much everything this week. Been going on for, well, bloody ages. So time to get out of here. Anything you chaps want to say before we get out of here?
Good luck for the rest of the season. You all smash it.
Yeah, same here. It'll be a fun run in. Good luck to everybody.
Up the Ramble, apart from tomorrow in the Cup.
Looking forward to that one.
But yeah, we should be back next week. As I said, we'll be back on Wednesday with the normal stream, the normal MFL Ramble. On Tuesday evening, we're going to be doing an evening stream with, hopefully, by the sounds of it, myself, Kev, Bob, and Sid, and pulling back the curtain on tactics for the season, listening to have a little bit of a therapy corner with Bob giving us his frustrations on the engine this season. And then by then, we'll have a little bit of a steer on what the engine looks like this season, because we'll all be learning a little bit of MFL, playing on the experimental engine, looking at the friendlies, spotting errors, sending through to MFL so they can be corrected before the final version goes out. Then I really want to do a pack rep stream, but I do realise it is half term next week, which could write Hoodwink off. We'll have to wait and see. It also writes off a few other people as well. And I think Kev's a bit busy, but we'll try and arrange that for next Thursday, because that's rewards day when we will be ripping. But that's everything from me. And so we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you.